welcome once again to the Turret of Pleasure here in the enchanted kingdom of Hermione. I'm your host, Zip Gun, talking music, talking trash. Today, I want to revel in a wonderful phenomenon that's probably not with us for a long time, I'm going to guess, but it's great nonetheless. And we've reached the era of really cheap box sets. And by this I mean box sets where they scratch that record collector itch, but it's modern. So in other words, they're CDs, not records. And the CDs are being designed and marketed to a group of potential buyers who are record collectors. It seems. This is what it seems like to me. Now, this is a great idea. I love it completely because it makes acquiring great music in hard copy really cheap. And I was going to show a bunch of examples of these. There's several different types. Well, there's two different types, really. And type number one is the industry doing it with their masters, their existing masters. And so you got a couple of different ones here that I'm going to show. These are more, I'm not going to get too specific because, well, until later. But these are what I call the Sony BMG, box sets. And what they've done is, because Sony BMG are now a single corporate entity, these are 2010 Sony Music Entertainment. Now what's 2011 Arista Buddha BMG, because Sony and BMG, and they're all together now. This is the only ones. These were on Epic, so this will be strictly Sony. But at any rate, and I've got a Johnny Cash one somewhere that I can't reach. These are not brand new by any stretch of the imagination, but they linger in record stores. I think I bought most of these at Fascinating Rhythm in the 2011, 2010, 2011. So they're all 15 years old. They might be out of print now, I'm not sure. I know that when you go to the little website they give you for more information, it doesn't work. So there's that. But these are, like, for instance, you get all three of the Only Ones records. And you get them in mini LP sleeves, just like the originals, which is cool. Yes, there are bonus tracks. They do include some, sometimes. Lots of bonus tracks on these. I don't think this was $20. And for me, that made it worth buying. I had the LPs, but I quite like the Only Ones, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to buy this. Ditto for the Soft Machine. Now, I love this band. This is 5 CDs. I think this was $22. You'll see how old it's worn. I've had this a long time. This is 7 LPs worth of stuff. There is exactly one bonus track. You get the original sleeves. You don't get the original labels, which is, that's nitpicking, but there you go. They are aiming at it, guys that might notice such things. However, $23 for 5, great. And then there's this. This one's great. Now, some of these, they have quite extensive discographies to compile these from. And so this one is a little bit interesting because what they've given us is Rock and Roll Animal, which is from the smack in the middle of his RCA period. And then they've given us Rock and Roll Heart, which is his first Arista, Street Hassle, which is the second Arista, The Bells, which is the, fourth Arista, I think, and Growing Up in Public, which was the last Arista. They don't give you Take No Prisoners. I would have much rather have had Take No Prisoners than Rock and Roll Animal, but hey, I don't make these things up. And maybe Rock and Roll Animal was supposed to help sell the box, because I'll tell you what, The Bells sure ain't going to do that. But again, I think these were just over $20. And yeah, I'll buy them. They're great. And it's CBS, they own it. So it's all fine and good. The corporate world revolves. And to this end, another label that I quite enjoy these. And again, how old are these? I think these are all kind of going the way of the dodo. So you've been warned. Wow, is that ever in tiny print? This is 2017-2018. First we have Owl, which I didn't realize is now owned by Decca Universal. So we basically have a Universal. Now this guy I like, Michael Petrucciani. 5 original albums. This was about $20. For 5 records, you get... Do you get the original sleeve in this one? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you get... I do believe these are the original sleeves. And good stuff. This guy was a great pianist. A little bit of a tragic life, but what jazz genius doesn't have a tragic life? And then Grant Green, another tragic life jazz genius. These are the original. I think these are the first sort of CD issues. So, for example, there's not too many of these that have alternate tracks on them. In fact, no, I guess none of them. Wait a minute. I'm missing one. Oh. The open-ended sleeve thing I'm not nuts about, because should you pick them up, 2 alternative takes on Idle Moments. Larry Young's on a couple of these, which makes them worthwhile for me. And Hank, a lot of great people on these. Hank Mobley, Larry Young's on 2 of them. Babyface Willette's on one. Hey, there you go. Grant Green, very underrated jazz guitarist. A lot of the acid jazz crowd really took to him. And so those are similar, basically the same thing as the CBS ones. Put them out for $4 a disc or whatever. And then you get Europe. Now, this is the other type of these boxes. Europe has completely different copyright laws for sound recordings. And I looked this up and I've forgotten it already, but I think it's 70 years. So 70 years after a recording is released, it becomes public domain. In addition, if something is recorded but never gets released, it becomes public domain in 50 years. Okay, so that puts us now at like 1966, I think. Sorry, 66, 56. Where am I here? Yeah, 55, 56. Yeah, okay, I think I'm doing this right. So you get a lot of these things, and what that means is it's public domain. Anybody can get it. So, this label came along. Now, I don't know even if this label has a name. It does not. Big 3. Johnny Cash, 3 CD set. Side 1, Johnny Cash. Side 2, Johnny Cash. Disc 3, the music that inspired Walk the Line. Interesting angle there. These are all really old, 1955, 57, 57, 56, 57. What's the newest one here? Looks like this tops out at 57. So this is completely copyright free. Whoever put this together, Big 3, can do whatever they want with this. They can package it as badly or poorly as they want. It's not packaged very well. There's no information. There's some pictures. Also available in the series, of course. Picture John. But in the thrift store for $1, a lot of the time these are worth buying. This has basically all of John's Son stuff on it, and it has a sort of a greatest hits of stuff that maybe inspired him. I've also got a Hank Williams one here somewhere, and I've also got a couple of, and I'm not going to get them down because they're way up in the corners here, but there's a 10 CD Nat King Cole box set. And I think it's a 10 CD Chet Baker box set I got. The Baker is all of his what do you call it, World Pacific stuff. All of his classic West Coast stuff that ended up on Blue Note in those labels. The Nat King Cole stuff is all his very early stuff, his trios and stuff. It's all really good music. Both of these I think I got in the thrift store for $1, believe it or not, which is lunacy. And I bought them, and I can't say I listen to them a lot, but they're lovely to have for $1. Geez, I just got to find the space to put them. And to this end, you have some new labels popping up who seem to have people who are music aficionados. And this is good news for guys like me. So you get, for example, what label is this on? There's a bunch of these labels. They might all be the same label for all I know. This is on Avid Entertainment 2016, 4 LPs by Paul Bley. Now, I went through a Paul Bley thing, and I wanted to hear his music, and it's hard to find to hear. So here you get his first record. I think it's his second record. The third record, Paul Bley Quartet featuring Dave Pike on Vibes. And then because they ran out of Paul Bley records, I suppose, in the copyright, they put out Jimmy Giuffre's Fusion record, which is a brilliant, brilliant record. Now, that's already been re-released by, of all people, ECM. This says it's from Britain. These guys have a British address. So, and I don't remember, Fusion came out in 1961. So I'm not sure how the copyright works for this. But now this one has good notes. They give you the original liner notes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. They don't give you anything else, but they do give you that. And they give you the covers. The front covers, anyway. Don't think they give you the back covers, do they? At any rate, as these packages go, this is quite adequate. I think it was $12 for the 2 CDs with the 4 albums on it. And I'll tell you what, I jumped at this. That was Fascinating Rhythm. This too was Fascinating Rhythm. Steve Lacy on Real Gone Jazz. Now, Real Gone, I thought was a label out of America, but I think this is different. Again, MCPS, this appears to be British. This features no less than 6 classic albums. However, they're not all Steve Lacy records, of course. And this is where it gets kind of fun, because I bought 2 of these damn things. This is on Enlightenment, who are a label I like. They've done some great boxes. So this one features soprano sax, Reflections, Evidence, and then, oops, hang on a second here. Soprano sax, Reflections, The Straight Horn of Steve Lacy on Candide, Evidence of Don Cherry, Gil Evans and 10. So that's a Gil Evans record, Gil Evans and 10, and then Great Jazz Standards with Gil Evans. So actually 6 classic albums. 2 of them are actually Gil Evans, but that's okay. I like Gil Evans, and Steve Lacy plays on them. This one contains soprano sax, Reflections, The Straight Horn, Evidence. Those are all on here. Plus Disposability, a really good one that I wanted on the Fontana label. What the hell is it called again? Jazz Realities. And then these 2 other ones, Sortie and The Forest and the Zoo. So this is 8 albums on 4 CDs. This was about $16. So even the fact that I already had 4 of them meant it was worth buying. I think this was also about I think this might have been a bit more. This might have been $18. And the thing that kind of triggered this was Enlightenment. Previously, I bought the 12 classic albums of Eric Dolphy. This was about $30. Now, to say that it's worth every nickel of $30 is something of an understatement. It's got all of his best records out there, Outward Bound. It's got a Ken McIntyre record on it, which is essentially Gary Dolphy. And it's also got Where by Ron Carter, which is also sort of an Eric Dolphy record. And in fact, if I remember correctly, Where was recorded in the afternoon, and Out There was recorded in the morning. And poor old Ron had the flu. There you go. What a trooper. You'll have trouble spending $30 on a better thing than that. And the one that I kind of got me thinking about all this was the one I found on my last trip to Fascinating Rhythm, which, like, I can't emphasize it enough. If you're a jazz guy and you want to go thumbing through jazz CDs, they're the place to go. I always find stuff there. This was there this time. This features 8 classic albums of his, including the first 2 for Verve, so before Fusion. Fusion and, what's the other one? Got re-released on ECM by Manfred Eicher. And 2 CDs set of 2 albums for $25. And I was delighted to pay that because it's worth every nickel. This has some great innovative stuff on it. It's got, what's it called again? The Brothers 4? Where he overdubs his tenor saxophone. The Four Brothers, sorry. This has, I think all 6 of his records for Atlantic with his trio. He actually had a kind of a hit. This is jazz that you don't really hear the style of. He's probably best known as a clarinetist, but he plays lots of tenor on this. Four Brothers was the album. And it's him overdubbing his sax 4 times. And it's all arranged. It's not really improvised. But he was one of these guys, he kind of almost invented chamber jazz. And he had he had Paul Bley, he had Steve Swallow, he had Jim Hall, he had Brooke, what's his name? The trombonist whose last name I can't remember, who also doubled on piano. But these are great. This was $14.95, 4 CDs. Absolute freaking bargain. You know, that's like not even $2 an LP. And I'm savoring every moment of this because every record is blowing my mind. So if you see these and you're sort of, they look kind of dodgy. And they're not really, really well laid out. Like this one has notes, and it has, they're not bad notes. They're not the way I would lay it out, but you know, I don't get the job. So this has an essay in it that sort of goes through the individual albums. And it does give you a musician list. Thank you. That's really essential. A lot of these don't give you that. The Johnny Cash and the Hank Williams are useless for that sort of thing. So yeah, it's not super easy to sort of navigate, but if you look, it's on one side it says disc 1, tracks 1 to 8. So then you get disc 1, you get the list of all the tracks on disc 1, but it doesn't differentiate between this session and that session. It's just a big wodge of type, and you have to go back here and sort it all out. I don't mind doing that, that's fine. If they were, you know, the way I love them, I'd pay an extra $10, but I'm not in charge. So there you have it. Cheap boxes, they're everywhere, and they're great. I love them. Let me know what you think, and tell me if you know if you've run into any great cheap box sets, because there's every jazz artist imaginable seems to have one. Jazz artists I don't even know have them in some of the Real Gone Jazz and Enlightenment series. So hey, anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll get at you with more crazy stuff as I get to it. Thanks. Take care of each other, and we'll see you later.